iHeart Radio app, WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Uzan on the right-hand wing, stops with 7 seconds, gives it to Pryor, 6 seconds to go, 5 seconds to Sharp, top of the key, lost the dribble, he's got to pick it up, it's scooped up by Condon, Condon secures it, and Florida found a way! From 12 down to the school's third national championship in men's basketball, 65-63 the final, the Florida Gators are the national champions once again!
That's how it sounded. Florida Gators Radio Network, courtesy of And a Good Afternoon. The question I have from the start, how the hell did Florida win that game? Or should we be asking, how the hell did Houston lose that game? That's probably the better phrased question. As I said, good afternoon. Sean Brace riding solo for now. We got some special guests hopping on the show today. One, Chris Powers from Golf Digest, live from Augusta. He's going to be joining us at 4:30. A gentleman by the name of Mike Puorro will be joining us. Puorro, from the Drop podcast, the podcast that does really cool things in the state of New Jersey and all things golf. He's going to join me coming up here at 3:30. So a heavy, heavy day here on the Daily Ticket, talking all things Masters in the world of golf. But, of course, we open up with what took place last night in San Antonio as we have now crowned the champion in the 2024-25 college basketball season, and it is the Florida Gators, 65-63. Houston scored 15 points in the final 2 minutes versus Duke. In the final 2 minutes versus Florida, they scored 0. They had an opportunity to put that game away and failed to score, A, that's where it starts and ends, but B, for my money, with game in hand, just be the better damn team. Just don't do the stupid things. Don't shoot the three-point shots. Try and work it down low. Now, easier said than done. No one's going to be here to tell you anything different than that. But that was a game Houston has to find a way to win. Double-digit lead, national championship at hand. You have to find a way to finish the damn job. That game went off as Florida 1.5 favorite. Not only do they win, they cover the number. I don't feel bad for anybody with a Houston ticket. I sure as hell don't, because you were lucky to be in that spot with what took place versus Duke. Very lucky to even reach a national championship. But to lose the way that you did in a game, as I said, where the natty is in your hands, parade route's already being carved out. Kelvin Sampson, he's already thinking about what he's going to do next. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it has anything to do with that team. I heard him talking before the game. He was like, yeah, this is the first time maybe I can start to look at some other things. 69 years old. He wins the national championship last night. I don't know. I don't know if he's coming back. You know how these guys operate. They live and die. But we've seen some greats walk away, and there's no better time to ride off into the sunset than when you win a championship. We don't see it happen that often because how difficult it is. But that could have very well been what took place last night. Glory to the Florida Gators. They led for 1 minute and 4 seconds. 64 seconds total last night. Houston led for 30-plus minutes. Nothing was working for Florida. And I guess you could sit there and say at halftime that as bad as it was for the Florida Gators, at halftime they were down by 2, maybe 3, I want to say. And there were plenty of people saying on my timeline last night, they were down by 3, 31-28 at half. Of course, we know Walter Clayton Jr. struggled in the first half. He was atrocious. He tried to do too much. The nerves across the board were affecting both teams. But Walter Clayton Jr., I'm not going to sit here and say that he hurt himself yesterday, but he didn't do himself any favors as far as draft stock is concerned. I don't think as we discussed yesterday with Sam Oster from The Score, it felt like he reached his potential or his ceiling as far as draft stock was concerned. There were people obviously going over the top, and I was enthused with his play. But again, 6'3", we got to slow our rolls. Steph Curry's don't just, fall out of nowhere. He is a very good player, and I would give him an opportunity if I had a late first-round draft pick. But it was borderline disrespectful to see that he was a potential second-round pick. I didn't buy that. And then I think we got a little carried away by saying he could very well be a top 5. I think Jason J. Williams said top 5 pick. Now, if he went for 34 last night, was filling it up, and did give you those Steph Curry vibes like he did in the first 2 games or the Elite 8 and Sweet 16 matchup, who knows? But I think we kind of hit our ceiling with the Walter Clayton Jr. conversation as far as draft stock is concerned. Regardless, he was terrible yesterday. And at halftime, you had to ask yourself, how the hell is Florida even in this game? Because of how bad they looked. And then on the flip side, from the gambling perspective, I think at halftime, Houston was minus 125 on the live line. Florida was minus 105. So I'm watching the game going, who's going to win this game? And do I want to get involved right here, right now? I had Florida to start the game. I told you about the hate wager I made after Duke lost, which ended up paying out, but I still have no idea how that did. And I didn't feel confident about that play. That was just a ridiculous wager by me, but it actually worked out at the end of the day. Oh well, we're not gonna gloat about that one all that much. For Florida to win that game, it really did feel everything that I felt like when Duke lost the game on Saturday. And if you were a Houston backer with a ticket in your hand, I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel. And you're lucky there's no more games tonight or moving forward because you wouldn't watch them. You wouldn't be tuning in. Because last night, I was even like, all right, here we go, national championship. And there was just something different about that game because of what took place on Saturday night with Duke ultimately blowing that game against Houston. Halftime, you had to ask yourself the question, who was going to cut down the nets? Who was going to win this game? Would it be the Houston defense? And they could hit a couple three-pointers because that was their Achilles heel. They could not make a shot from downtown. Or were you looking at Florida saying, you know what, they're going to figure out Houston's defense. And, oh, by the way, Walter Clayton Jr. will get it going. It was a good question. I was discussing it with myself and really felt like Florida was the better play. But again, that was just getting involved with some action as far as the second half is concerned. It would not have surprised me if Houston was able to win that game. And I think if we were really to break that conversation down and get into, the X's and the X's and the O's of how that second half is going to play out, I probably would have talked myself into Houston being the better idea of a play or concept of a play for that second half. Because that felt like it was their game. They were the better team in that first half. Hell, they were the better team in the second half. Florida led for 1 minute and 4 seconds. That's 64 total seconds out of a 40-minute ball game. Unbelievable. Coaching, Kelvin Sampson, you got to look yourself in the mirror. You used your timeout with 20 seconds to go. You would have liked to have that one back, correct? Not the end of the world. I didn't like the idea of trying to win it either, though, going for 3 at the end. That felt a little odd to me. 20 seconds to go, and your guy up there is at the top of the key outside the 3-point line, dribbling it around. 14, 12, 10. And it's under. Then it's like 8, 7. Now it's just a fire drill out there. I'm like, they're not going to get a shot off. I don't know what the play call was. I know Kelvin Sampson wasn't exactly the happiest camper after the game. Understood. But that was a disaster of an inning for Houston. They did not even get a shot off. Not exactly how I thought that game was going to end. Florida rallied from 12 points down early in the second half, and they come back to win the national championship. And what a run it was. They trailed by 6 or more points in the second half of 4 of their 6 NCAA tournament victories. They were behind 9 against Auburn in the second half, and they were down by 10 against Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. This team did not back down in any one of those matchups, and they were able to come out on top and win it all. I want to give a shout out to Sam Ostry, going way back in the machine. And I think this was one of the first times that we were squeezing college hoops conversation into the mix with everything the Eagles were doing. And I asked him, what's a team that has his attention? And he said, Florida. Watch out for the Florida Gators. And here we are. They're your national champions. We got a lot to discuss. As I said, we're going to talk a lot about the Masters here, all things as far as PGA Tour is concerned. We're going to get the breakdown as far as live players are concerned. We got some odds and ends to discuss down there in Augusta. Really looking forward to catching up with both of our guests coming up here starting at 3:30. But it starts with the national championship, and here's where I want to go with this conversation. Last night, if Houston was able to win that game, people were making the case that this was the most dominant run as far as a national champion was concerned. Who they had to go up against, the seeding, Ken Palm, whatever other stuff was being tossed in there. And people were making the case that this is the most difficult path. So therefore, if they're able to win it all, this should go down as a legendary, historical team. I'll give you both UConn teams. Last year and the year before, I'll take them over both of those teams. Both UConn teams, back-to-back years, I would take them over that Houston team, even if they were able to win, and I would take them over Florida. So what do we do with that? Were we getting a little over the top? Like, all you have to do is go back and compare it to national champions from the year before, and the year before that, I would take the 2 years ago as far as that UConn team was concerned over both of those teams that we saw last night. I thought last night was a good championship game. It was a great Final Four. It was a good championship game. And I don't cry, and I'm not upset that it wasn't 80-75 and 3 points weren't falling from the sky and the pace was electric or anything along those lines. No, it was a national championship game. It is what it is. On that stage, you got young athletes out there. You know they're going to be affected some way, somehow. And they were. Nerves were paramount. You saw it. They were all missing shots. Nothing was falling. And again, Walter Clayton Jr. really, really struggled, especially in that first half. This is him after the game talking about struggling, shooting the rock last night.
Walt, when you go 25 minutes, I think in 3 seconds without scoring, how did you just stay motivated and stay in the game when the shots weren't falling?
Man, these guys around me, man. Like I said, our motto, we all can go. So I understand that if it ain't my night, somebody going to pick me up, and we understand that we all just picking each other up throughout the year, man. We've been doing that all year, and tonight was nothing different. I think the way we won tonight is just it's just an exclamation mark on the year, and it's just great to win like that, knowing the fact that we just a brotherhood together, and we just been picking each other up all year.
Yeah, it's a really tight team. You knew that, and I think that they take apart from their coach, who's 39 years old, Todd Golden, able to win the national championship at that age. And you know, in this day and age, it's just a different vibe when you get those type of coaches that are running your programs. And He's got some great players that he's obviously connecting with, a lot of energy there. And it takes a special team, man. 39 years old to be the head coach. He is the youngest head coach to win a national championship since Jim Valvano back in 1983. I had a lot of fun for All Things Madness this year. I know that there were some people that were upset as far as the opening rounds, but after it was all said and done, March delivered and then some. What a way to close things off last night. Let me know your winning plays. Love to hear some thoughts from you on the national championship game from last night. Once again, plenty to discuss. How the hell did Houston lose that game? That's where we need to start. I feel for a lot of my gambler gang friends here, especially Mark Henry Jr., who I believe is in hibernation mode at this point in time. But look, that's what happens when you get some really good ball clubs in there, man. Anything is possible. Florida is not going to roll over, and you knew what happens in that second half, late in the second half. That's when they raise their game up. Clutch, very clutch team, and we've seen it. The only other issue is the fact of how good we've seen Houston in those spots as well. But the best conference all season long was the SEC, and Florida caps off a historic SEC season, one that I can remember with how many teams made the tournament. Of course, all season long, the focus on that conference, and Florida finally getting the job done and winning it all last night in San Antonio. A great, great run. I can't thank everybody for tuning in enough over these last couple weeks. And of course, to the Gambler Gang, who did a great job covering all things college hoops for us here. Just a fantastic job across the board. And please be sure to give us a follow on all things socials at Fox PHL Gambler, as we now will transition over to the NBA. I got some music for you. Sean Bernard is going to be joining me a little bit later. Let's give it to you. Oh, yeah. NBA season is here. Playoffs right around the corner. 1 week from today, the play-in tournament will start. Coming up at 5 o'clock, I'll sit down with Sean Bernard, live picks and roll. We do have some crazy news out of the NBA. And I don't know if this hurts the league, if this rubs fans the wrong way. I can tell you what it does to me, but it's not going to hold me back from watching the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. But around an hour ago, the Denver Nuggets decided to clean house. Yeah, the Denver Nuggets, who have 47 wins on the season, who are currently the 4th seed in the West, who have the best player in the NBA in Joker, who have a championship caliber roster, when healthy, who's a head coach who has won a championship before. There's a banner. There's a Denver Nugget banner because of this man. And the Nuggets, an hour ago, fired Michael Malone and GM Calvin Booth. Insane. David Adelman, of course, Rick Adelman's son, will take over as the head coach for the remainder of the season. There isn't a lot of great detail at this point in time. They will be taking on the Sacramento Kings tomorrow, so I think today was a break, a travel day. Of course, everybody's going to be hiding, not wanting to talk to the press. I have no idea why this move was made. This team has fallen short in the second half. They have lost 4 straight. Things aren't exactly the smoothest right now in Denver. Understood. 11-13 since the All-Star break. Who cares? Who cares what your second half record is when you have that roster, that team that has already won a championship? Who cares? 11-13. It's not like you're 1-23. It's not like you're the 76ers who lost 12 straight. The playoffs literally start in a week, and you just fired a coach who has already gotten you to the promised land, to the top of the mountain. It's insane, the timing of this fire. The only thing that I can grab onto is the struggles that this team has had, especially in the last 4 to 5 games. But Jamal Murray has been out for 5 straight. He's missed every one of those games. He's the centerpiece. Well, we know Joker's the centerpiece. We know Joker's the backbone. But Jamal Murray is a damn good basketball player, and he's a guy that you can count on to make big shots. Obviously runs the offense to a point. It's real easy to understand the struggles. I'm not trying to say that this team was going to win an NBA championship this year, but 1 week from the playoffs where they start, where you have to stare a fan base, where you have to answer the questions of players. This isn't what they signed up for. 1 week before the playoffs start, everything matters in the playoffs. And you fire the head coach at this point in time. Very odd timing, to say the least. I'm sure that there will be plenty of insiders digging up some information and finding out what exactly took place. I was reading some reports from the last time that they lost. Joker was upset on the bench, and there was a local blog that said maybe something ugly is brewing. I believe that was the quote. So they were onto it there, of course. But I would have to ask you, as Sean Bernard pointed this out to me a little earlier today, does Joker seem like a guy that would throw a hissy fit and say he needs to be fired? Michael Malone needs to be fired right now? I don't believe so. I don't think so at all. So what the hell actually happened in Denver for them to remove Michael Malone from the head coach as far as the Nuggets are concerned? Love to hear your thoughts on that one. And again, I guess the big picture for us as sports fans are, especially when it comes to the NBA, because I saw a lot of people, like I even threw the WTF. Just for the timing, all that, as you just heard my rant. So I'm not going to go and revisit all that nonsense. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are just like, this is such an unserious league. Now you have 2 coaches, of course, Jenkins with Memphis and then Malone with Denver being fired. Couple weeks out from the playoffs. Like Memphis, even though I didn't agree, I could understand it, right? A little bit different world down there in Memphis. But the Denver Nuggets, and I wasn't a big Malone fan, I don't think, a couple years ago, but how could you not be at this point in time? The guy's the real deal. NBA, 1 week left. This is an opportunity for all of us to see if we can find some of those games that maybe some of those big-time favorites don't really care too much and take the foot off the gas pedal. The numbers are just absurd. 14-point spread, 19-point spread, 15-point spread, 15.5, 10, 13. Yeah, we got some decent games with the Celtics and the Knicks. Welcome back, Jalen Brunson. And then to the nightcap, we got the Warriors and Suns. That's also a 10-point spread. But, yeah, the decent games to watch from a sports fan's perspective. But even the Lakers and the Thunder, it's a 15.5-point spread. 15.5. They just beat them on the road. Now, we know it's most likely meaning that Luka will not be playing this evening, and that's why it's a 15.5-point spread for the Lakers or for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, man, tell me the Lakers can't hang with the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, even without Luka? Nah, I don't know. It's not a bet I would be willing to make, but it's still a game that has my interest. It's a shame that essentially Luka won't be playing. And of course, tomorrow, I believe, is when we have the Lakers at the Dallas Mavericks. All right, look, we will be discussing all things NBA from here on out. Sean Bernard's going to be joining me coming up here at 5 o'clock. Looking forward to catching up with Sean. We'll talk a little bit more about the NBA, some surprises from the season, get his thoughts as far as the firing with Malone, and then maybe even sprinkle a little 76er conversation. Nice work by the Sixers last night, losing 12 straight. Nobody could tank like the 76ers. All right, on the other side, though, let's talk some Masters. Come on, fire up DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's go. Mike Puorro from the Drop Podcast. It's a good podcast, man. These guys have made a name for themselves over there, talking all things golf in the state of New Jersey. Pretty cool angle. The Drop Podcast can be found on YouTube, your ultimate destination for all things golf in New Jersey. Mike Puorro, and Ryan Kulat as they play, review, and explore the best golf courses across the Garden State. I saw Josh join them, Ron Jaworski, on a previous episode. And again, they got themselves a nice angle with golf in the state of New Jersey, a place that I don't play enough. I was telling Luke Arcani about that. Mike's going to join us on the other side. We'll talk a little Masters, get caught up on what's happening over there at the Drop Podcast, and of course, all things in the world of golf with Chris Powers live from Augusta at 4:30 as well. It's the Daily Ticket, just getting started. Don't go anywhere. Get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler. More after this.
It's never been done before. iHeartRadio and America's favorite TV show, Wheel of Fortune, come together for 1 week only. Music lovers from across the country play for incredible iHeartRadio experiences.
iHeartRadio Jingle Ball Concert.
Music Festival.
iHeartRadio Music Award.
And you can win too. Play along all week at wheeloffortune.com and you could find yourself at an unforgettable iHeartRadio event.
Start spinning. Good luck.
All this week.
iHeartRadio Week on Wheel of Fortune with me, Ryan Seacrest. Check it out.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
95 southbound Jam Woodhaven to approaching Gottman. Crash takes out the right lane. Northbound stop and go Girard up the bridge. Blue Route southbound Jam Broomall to Media Swile for westbound Schuylkill stacked up University to Girard and Boulevard to Belmont. All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Tick-tock on the tax clock. For expert tax prep, hurry into Jackson Hewitt before the April 15th tax deadline. Don't worry, they're open early, late, and on weekends. To beat the crowds and the clock, book today at jacksonhewitt.com.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
Everybody! Get ready for a burst of bold, fruity flavor. Introducing Rita's new Skittles Ice. Try it in a gelati or an ice blender. Add even more fun with the crunchy new Skittles Popped topping. Stop by Rita's today.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Sharia McRae, CEO of Foundation Academies.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand it's not just about protecting your livelihood, but safeguarding your legacy. For 35 years, we have helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation at our Philadelphia office today. Cordell & Cordell.
Offices in Philadelphia, Radnor, and Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. Michelle Ferrari, licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
From the very beginning, iHeart has believed in me.
Even now, I still get excited when I hear one of my songs playing on the radio.
Thank you, iHeartRadio, for honoring the truth I've fought for in my music.
Because we believe in the power of music. All your favorite artists, all in one place. The free iHeartRadio app.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
Are your money skills total trash? Well, you are not alone. Personal finance ignorance is as American as apple pie. But don't fret. The How to Money podcast is here to help you improve. Think, Matt, if your emergency fund was invested, especially given the volatility we're experiencing right now. Ouchies. Investing, it is ultimately a necessity, but you got to keep that emergency fund accessible. It needs to be cash parked in your savings. It's time to increase your money knowledge. And the How to Money podcast is here to bring the wisdom. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search How to Money, and start listening today.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Oh, those tunes. Give it to me for the next week. As soon as that game went final last night. Yep, Masters Week is finally here. Some might be hibernating over the next couple of days. Others, like us right here on The Gambler, we're locked, ready to go. Can't wait. Jam-packed show here today, talking all things Masters in the world of golf. Coming up at 4:30, we're going to catch up with our good friend Chris Powers live from Augusta. Looking forward to hearing what Chris has to say. And, of course, he was making some headlines down there with a question for Rory that a lot of people wanted to discuss about Colin Morikawa answering questions following a tough loss. We'll get into that a little bit later, get some of his thoughts, all that good stuff. But, folks, let's keep the golf conversation going here on The Gambler. Let's stay local, though. Joining me right now, Daily Ticket debut, big fan of the Drop podcast, your ultimate destination for all things golf in New Jersey. Mike Puorro joining us right now. Good afternoon, Mike. What's happening, partner? How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, buddy. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. I'm not lying to you, man. You guys have made such a name for yourself right now in that podcast and got some big names. Josh joining you. You have a nice, like a different angle. And I don't know, because we know how many people are doing golf content. It's all out there. But I'll tell you guys have a nice mix. You and your co-host, Ryan, do a great job, great flow. But what makes your podcast different versus others? Is it just strictly based off of the state of New Jersey and it's untapped for people like myself? And that's why I find it so interesting. What's the difference with your podcast?
Yeah, I think the one thing that differs from us and others is we have a nice little niche here when you're talking golfing in the Garden State. We have phenomenal golf courses, both private and public. We have phenomenal players, college, mid-ams, professionals. On the PGA Tour, we got guys. It's just everything you have from the north to the south, the east to the west. And I think Ryan and I have done an unreal job of head down and just pumping out one episode after another. I mean, the guests kind of speak to themselves. I mean, we've sat down with Jim Nantz. We sat down with Michelle Wee West. We've had Dottie Pepper on. She's actually on tomorrow or Thursday talking the Masters, lead on-course analyst for CBS Sports. So, Ryan and I have kind of just, one foot in front of the other and just continue to plug along.
Mike, when did you start the podcast? When did you start the show?
So we put out our first episode in October of 2022. And we put out an episode every single week since, never missed a week, and have had a brand new guest on every single episode since 2024.
All right. Obviously, we're diehards in the world of golf, but there's nothing better than just getting out there. I mean, you tell me Jersey got better golf courses than Pennsylvania? Is that what we're saying right here?
Listen, I'm one of those guys that will take that argument, debate anywhere you name it, buddy. I do think, and I know you guys out there in Philly want to steal Pine Valley from us. It just ain't happening. It ain't happening.
No, well, if one day maybe I can get lucky and get out there. I know that my president has actually played a few great courses. He's actually a member at the Legacy Club out there in Cherry Hill, and he's been able to frequent a few of those great spots in Jersey. Is Pine Valley the stop as far as the state of New Jersey is concerned?
State of New Jersey, how about the world? I mean, you could probably create arguments between St. Andrews and whatnot, but when you're talking United States, I mean, it's hands down, it's constantly number one in the United States and arguably in the world.
What's your thoughts on Mike Trout's course down there in South Jersey? What are we looking at with that one?
I mean, I don't think there's a better tag team than Tiger Woods and Mike Trout. I mean, I don't know how many people can argue or come up with some sort of different disagreement there, but I can't wait to get to see that. We do have a few ins and connections of people that are out there that have told us some things, but obviously a lot of NDAs going on out there with how that thing is going to open and everything in between. So supposedly golf balls will be hit this spring, this summer there.
See, the one issue that was hitting me a little bit is Trout comes off as this, he's from the Millville area, and I've actually did a few events down there, believe it or not, and that's in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, good wholesome people. I'm from Scranton, so I get a very Scranton vibe. I wonder what those fees are going to be to go and try and play Mike Trout's course if you can actually get on there. I would imagine it's not all that public.
No, I think you're going to have to know somebody, and then probably know somebody on top of that.
Exactly. All right, Mike, as far as the drop is concerned, when you put out your episodes, once a week, you said, is there a special day or a specific day that you guys record on?
Yeah, so basically Ryan and I are just us every Tuesday, where we recap the week prior, we preview what comes out ahead, whether we played somewhere, we can review a golf course, talk about our experience, and recap the entire day. And then every Thursday is a brand new guest, and we've had, like I named, a lot of good people, a lot of big name people, and it's constantly getting to that point where early on you had to kind of go fish them out. Now it's a lot easier for us, and it's been a nice little venture.
Well, credit to you guys. As I said, it's a great watch, fantastic listen, and let the people know where we can find it. Know your YouTube channel, but anywhere else that we can find the podcast at?
Yeah, so I think we're probably really heavy on Instagram at _pod. YouTube is kind of starting to take off more so in the last month or so. It's the Drop Golf Podcast over there on YouTube. And then obviously anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or if you follow along on Amazon Music as well.
Excellent stuff. All right, Mike, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Masters and the PGA Tour, if you wouldn't mind, man. I'm curious to know where your mind is at, because I think the topic for a lot of people out there this week is, can Rory get the job done? Now, I know that's been a question that's happened a lot, but he's playing some pretty good golf this year, and why not this year? But from a betting perspective, he's plus 650. It's tough for me to sit here and say, take one of the favorites at this point in time. This is the tournament. This is the event as far as the PGA Tour is concerned, as far as money coming in. So the value is not at a premium this week, but you have to pick a winner. Should we be looking at the top of the board? Where do you start when you start handicapping the Masters for this year as far as picking the winner? Where are you looking at?
Well, I'll be honest. I think it's hard not to give Scotty a hard look. I know last time I checked, he was plus 400. So it's kind of hard not to look at that number and be like, okay, it's pretty good odds, all things considered, knowing how he's playing as of late. I personally think Rory's kryptonite is Augusta National. I would be betting the opposite way. I don't think he has a chance. I think he gets off to a slow start on Thursday, and maybe he backdoors a top 10, top 5, but he's not my guy. I'm riding hard on Jon Rahm. I think there's something about Jon Rahm. He's got that dog in him. He's got that killer instinct. And I think he has something to prove, because I think when he left the PGA Tour, he was kind of the guy. He was the main event. Everybody watched him. And then he goes over to Live, and I think that kind of falls by the wayside. No one really watches. No one really pays attention. And I think he's got like a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He played well last week down at Doral. Take away one hole, his 71st hole, where he made it 8 on the par 4. He's right there finishing top 4, and he's probably big time in the conversation.
Yeah, when you talk about the Masters, I always look at previous winners. We've seen a couple of them do it a few times, and Bubba specifically pops up the top of my head, right? And Rahm has the one in 2023, so why can't he get the job done? Interesting, because I don't follow Live, right? I tuned it on, I turned it on. It came on at like 1 o'clock in the morning a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this is a perfect time. They were, of course, cross seas. South Korea or wherever they were. And I'm like, this is a perfect time, because I was sitting there and I had nothing to watch. So I tuned in. I watched a little bit this past weekend as well. But we know what type of players are on that tour. So it's great to have everybody in the mix down there in Augusta. Rahm, of course, won it in 23. I did not know, though, Rahm has not finished outside the top 10 since joining Live. So he's playing at a high level on the Live Tour. So it wouldn't shock anybody as far as Jon Rahm is concerned. Is there another golfer on the Live Tour that maybe you might be looking at top 10, top 20, or could potentially win it all this weekend?
Well, listen, it's funny you said it, because Ron and I spoke at length on today's episode, and my sleeper pick stayed over there and Live, and I went with Joaquin Niemann. I think Joaquin has played a lot of good golf this year. He's won multiple times out there. He's a phenomenal ball striker. And I think, as I said on the show, he's one major away from becoming a household name. I truly believe that. And a guy like him that flies under the radar, it's inevitable. I think, before a guy like him actually wins. And what perfect time than this week.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's going to be a lot of fun no matter what. Party gets started on Thursday all the way through the weekend. Bad job by me, man. I have my baby shower on Sunday. Bad job by me.
This was rough scheduling, bro. Rough scheduling.
Look, I just want to be honest with you. I didn't have much of a say in the scheduling, all right? Like, April was jammed. This was brought to my attention in November. All of a sudden, like a month ago, I go, wait a minute. The baby shower is on that day. It's Masters Sunday. Oh, well, what are you going to do? That's why they have the cell phones and YouTube TV, so I will be able to get by. As far as golfers that have been playing well this year, though, right, on the PGA Tour, one of the guys that jumps off the page at me, of course, is Colin Morikawa, at 18-1. You can get him to do it to win the green jacket, plus 280 as far as top 5, plus 130 right now, top 10. Anything for you as far as Morikawa is concerned this weekend?
Sounds like I'm a PGA Tour hater on this episode right now, this little segment for you, but I'm not buying Colin Morikawa. And I think my reasoning is his putter is too sketchy for me. I think in order to win at Augusta, you got to be able to close and you got to be able to putt. And I think he's shown that this year, where he has struggled down the stretch, finishing tournaments, making putts that matter. And unfortunately for me, I am on the other side of that. I just can't dive deep into Colin Morikawa. I know he's one of the top 3, top 4 terms of ratings, in terms of where the numbers lie. I just can't get on board with that. I can't.
It's understood. Again, it's really tough to pick a winner. It really is. Is there other wagers that you look at when it comes to placing a wager on a PGA Tour? Or, of course, as I said, with the Masters, everybody wants some sort of action. So is there anything else that you take a look at other than top 5 and winning it all, top 10, top 20, those sort of bets?
Listen, I'd be remiss if I didn't sprinkle a little bit on our boy Max Grazerman. I mean, you're talking golfing in the Garden State. You got a guy born and bred right here at home. Nothing would be sweeter for the Drop podcast than to see a guy like Max from New Jersey get the job done, because Ryan and I harped on this for a while on today's episode about, man, what it would do for 2 little guys like us that we follow Max all along. We've had Max on the show. We've talked to him. Man, oh, man, walking down the fairway on Sunday, that last group or 2, you got to sprinkle a little bit on Max just because.
And I'll tell you what, Jersey be rocking if he was able to get the job done.
Understatement, buddy. Understatement.
Nobody parties like the state of New Jersey. Nobody gets behind their own like the state of New Jersey. Frankie Edgar, the list goes on. Todd Frazier, all those guys. All right, having some fun here, talking all things Masters. And again, Thursday it gets started all the way through the weekend. How about a long shot? We'll end on this one. Is there any potential long shots that you're looking at right now? And it could be as high as 25-1. It could be anything further than that. Ashke Bati is a guy that I was looking at. Unfortunately, missed the cut last weekend. Might be asking for a little bit too much. I think he's up to 55-1 to win it all. But he's a dude that hits it far, really talented. And again, it's a long shot. So we're throwing something up against the wall. Anyone for you, though?
Yeah, you ready for this one? Phil Mickelson.
Stop.
I'm telling you, listen, I know I'm that random whack job that's following along on Live. But you know who's been playing much better?
Phil?
And again, all you need is, a couple good rounds over there. All of a sudden, he's got the thumbs up as if he's back in Kiowa. I'm telling you. And he's a long shot. You want to talk about a long shot? Right. Listen, I like Max, but I'd sprinkle a little bit on Phil myself.
Mike, great stuff, man. Excellent job. No, I'm with you as far as Phil is concerned. 110-1, 110-1 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook to win it all. Top 5, you can get him at 16-1. Top 20, I just had it. I apologize. Top 20 right now for Phil Mickelson, 7-1. So that's a good little flyer right there. Get some action on Phil. And again, we know he can play that course pretty well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it all gets started on Thursday. I'll tell you what, man, Mike, thank you very much for popping up on here. We wanted to just shine a light on some local podcasts and again, in the world of golf, but you guys are kicking butt and taking names. The Drop podcast, you found in all things as far as YouTube is concerned, where you get your podcast at. Mike Puorro joining us here live on the Daily Ticket. Mike, we'll definitely catch up down the road, man. Good luck on those Masters plays and great job on the podcast. Keep it rocking.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. There he is. Once again, Mike Puorro joining us here, representing the squad over at the Drop podcast. Great to get him on. Be sure to check him out, especially in the state of New Jersey. If you play golf, and one of the things I wanted to ask him about was the hidden gem out there in Jersey. We'll have to hit that next time. Talk a little local flavor as far as golf courses that I need to be playing. I don't cross the bridge. I don't. I played Jaws' courses when I crossed the bridge to play golf out there in New Jersey. What's it? Deer Run down there, I want to say is the name of the one, right? Deer Run. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've been on the course, obviously, since last summer, but can't wait to get out there. But Luke Arcani represents Jersey very well, so I've been telling him that we need to get out there a lot more this summer. I'm excited about the Masters. I know that there are a lot of people out there that don't really get all that caught up or all fired up in the world of golf, and that's understood, but this is the one. Like, this is the one event, regardless of who's playing. And I mean that. Like, even if you told me the live players weren't able to tee it up in this tournament, who cares? You know, you want some names, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing prettier than Augusta. The manicure course from A to Z, the pine needles that just don't even exist in that place, which is mind-blowing. You would think that there would be leaves floating. Like, where did those things go? The twigs. It's amazing. The golf course management, the people that just clean everything up, and that course is about as pretty as it gets. And there's nothing better for my money than when I get home on Thursday and I'm able to watch the replay. I love the replays of the Masters. I do. I love watching it live when I can, but on Thursday, Friday, a little bit difficult, of course, what we do. So I love getting home and just watching the replay and totally sinking my teeth in for 4 straight days of coverage from start till finish. When we get that new green jacket awarded to whoever it may be this year. Will it be Rory's year? Will it be this gentleman that's on my television screen right now, Scotty Scheffler, who's your odds-on favorite at 4-1? Will it be Jon Rahm? Will it be Jon Rahm, like Mike said? I like that play. Rahm is the guy that, of course, we saw win 2 years ago. Could have a bad taste of this. Did he miss the cut last year? I'm trying to think. I thought I was looking that up. I thought I had that answer for you. Let's see here. He didn't perform well in the majors in 2024. He missed the cut at Augusta. Yes, so he missed the cut. So that could be the bad taste in his mouth. He's coming back. And, of course, as I said, 1 or 2 years ago. When you win at Augusta, you take away certain things. And I'm not going to say that it's going to lead to another green jacket. But we have seen players win multiple before. And why not Jon Rahm? Because we know how talented of a golfer he is. A lot of fun coming our way, though. Get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler. Again, Chris Power is going to join us coming up here at 4:30 from Augusta, but he's representing the squad over at the Golf Digest. We'll dive a little bit deeper into some of his thoughts, some of his plays, and again, some of those fun bets as well. That's what I'm looking for today. I want to know where we're looking for some money, some winners out there, and some potential bets that we normally don't wager on. Whether it's a matchup or the groups, which just were announced today. Some pretty good ones there. Miscuts. Top finish, as I said. Top 10, top 5, top 20, top 30, top 40. DraftKings Sportsbook rolling out the red carpet for all things wagering on the Masters. I was taking a look last night. Just so much to choose from. Top past champion, Scotty Scheffler, plus 105. Rahm, plus 360. Matsuyama, is he a guy that we're not paying attention enough to? He's 7-1 in this market right here. Jordan Spieth, plus 750. Again, not the highest paying market here on DraftKings Sportsbook, but again, a fun way to get involved on all things Masters. Top finish parlays. Good grief. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts out there. Please get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler, at Fox PHL Gambler. All right, keeping it moving as far as in the world of sports. NBA, we did have some breaking news. If you missed a little earlier, Michael Malone got fired and Calvin Booth, general manager of the Denver Nuggets, who currently are in the 4 seed and have the best player in the NBA. Oh, by the way, playoffs start in 1 week, have been removed today, fired. How, why, what, all of the above. We'll try to make sense of it a little bit later in the program, coming up at 5 o'clock when Sean Bernard joins me. For my money at this point in time, I just don't think that is a well-run organization for them to make a move like that. Regardless of what was said, regardless of what happened behind the scenes, if a player had an issue, whatever it may be, if it was something completely off the beaten path and we're not privy to know some details, some trouble with the law, of course, that's a different world. But at this point in time, this just feels like a team that's struggling right now, has lost 4 straight, 11-13 in the second half since the All-Star break. Maybe not meeting expectations at this point in time. Frustrations bubbling over, and the front office or the ownership group going, time to move on. Just a bad decision as far as timing is concerned. Makes no sense, and I don't think it does your team a damn bit of good to fire Michael Malone at this point in time. Insane. There is a banner hanging up in the rafters because of this man. And he gets fired 1 week. We are 1 week from today. The play-in tournament starts. The Nuggets won't be in that. They are in the playoffs. They're not dropping out of the top 6. You get Murray back. You got some good pieces with Gordon. You got the best player in Joker. You have a team that could potentially pull off an upset in a series. And who knows what happens on the other side? Maybe Oklahoma City gets knocked off. The Denver Nuggets could absolutely make a run. I'm not so sure right now. I don't think you can overcome firing your head coach with a week to go. Something tells me that there is some bad things happening behind the scenes if you're going to be firing everybody with 1 week to go as you're currently in the 4 seed. All right, Daily Ticket rolling on. As I said, 4:30, we'll be joined by Chris Powers. We'll talk some MLB and, of course, the NBA. We got a jam-packed slate of games. We'll see if we can find a double-digit dog that's barking in a big way. Major League Baseball, though, Phillies back on our television screens. Looking forward to tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that matchup. More Daily Ticket, 4 o'clock hour on the other side. Back at this.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
CEOs you should know, brought to you by Comcast Business.
Sharia McCrae, the proud CEO of Foundation Academies in Trenton, New Jersey. Foundation Academy is a K-12 charter school in the city of Trenton. Our mission is to empower our scholars to excel in learning and lead purpose-filled lives through pushing for excellent quality instruction every single day. And so what that looks like at Foundation Academy is ensuring our scholars have everything from food and shelter to enrichment activities and tutoring and sports, college tours and field trips, equipping them and opening the door for opportunity and access for every single scholar to pursue their passions, whatever that might be. During this time that we're living in, there's a lot of fears and a lot of uncertainties. But the one thing everyone can be certain about is the opportunity to impact the life of a child. At Foundation Academy, Academy, we're always calling on folks who want to be a part of that, who want to have the impact, have the heart for children, because they're not just our future, they're our today. Join us in this movement to really change lives through education. You can visit us on our website at www.foundationacademies.org.
Comcast Business, the complete connectivity solution, cybersecurity, internet, and mobile, all from one provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Tick-tock on the tax clock for expert tax prep. Hurry into Jackson Hewitt before the April 15th tax deadline. Don't worry, they're open early, late, and on weekends. To beat the crowds and the clock, book today at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Former Villanova hoop standout Chris Jenkins is suing the NCAA, the Big East, and other conferences, claiming they limited his ability to profit off his name, image, and likeness. They'll square off against the Braves tonight. That one's in Atlanta. Zach Wheeler takes the ball for Philly in the opener of a 3-game set. And TV sports personality Stephen A. Smith says he's leaving all doors open in regard to a possible presidential bid in 28. I'm Scott Davidson.
That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. Offers are waiting.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
The Phillies have shown us, albeit in just the first week of April, that this team is every bit as good as advertised. With 2 wins over the Dodgers this weekend, they've proven the hype is real, and the expectations should be sky high. The Dodgers came in undefeated. Of course we know what they have. Embarrassment of riches. They're no longer undefeated. The Phils took 2 of 3. They piled on runs. They got solid pitching. And, of course, Citizens Bank Park was absolutely rocking. Right now, the Phillies are still plus money to win the NL East. If you ask me, that's a bet you should jump on because I just don't see the value sticking around much longer.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're channel 95 northbound Girard up the bridge, southbound backed up Woodhaven to Cottman with a crash in the right lane. Westbound Schuylkill bumper to bumper, University to Girard and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound heavy 202 to Gulf Mills, Blue Route to Belmont, and Montgomery Drive to South. Are to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
A landscaping pro's workday is measured in power per hour. More work in less time. That's why the pros prefer Echo outdoor power equipment. Echo's best-in-class chainsaws, blowers, and string trimmers make light work out of the toughest work days. It's time your crew upgraded to Echo Power. Experience Echo Power for yourself at Laurel Lawn Mower in Blackwood, New Jersey. Visit laurellawn.com or call 856-228-2770 to learn more. Echo. Power on and on.
Oh, no, not again, Moose. That's my 3rd premium ball in the water today.
So just grab another one, Harry.
Yeah, easy for you to say. These balls are expensive.
Not mine. I get all my balls from buymyballs.com. That's balls with a Z. Top quality, recycled premium brands for a fraction of the price.
Wait a second, Moose. So you're playing premium balls and not freaking out when you lose one?
Yeah, you got it. Hurry up. You're holding everybody up.
Ha. Yep, I'm ordering from buymyballs.com right now. Buy premium golf balls without the premium price. Buymyballs.com.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried EasyCater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
EasyCater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Roger Caron was 16 when first convicted.
Has spent 24 of those years in jail.
12 years in solitary.
Broke out of jail more than any other prisoner in Canada.
The Go Boy podcast is the gritty true crime story of daring prison escapes, risky bank robberies, and swift police arrests. And the man who fought his way out of some of the darkest places imaginable to go from an ex-con to a best-selling author almost overnight. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Go Boy, and start listening today.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Daily Ticket with you here. Chris Powers, Golf Digest. He'll be joining us coming up here at 4:30 live from Augusta. Chris making some headlines with a question to Rory McIlroy a little earlier today. So we'll have to hear his thoughts on that one. I can't wait to hear what it's like down there. Our good friend Patrick McDonald, I saw him flexing on Instagram. He's down there in Augusta on a beautiful blue sky backdrop. Oh, I can imagine how nice it is, how pretty that venue is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what it's like to be on the grounds of the Masters in Augusta. And, of course, we'll talk about some plays as well. I can't wait to hear what Chris has to say about some of those live golfers. You heard Mike join us a little earlier from the Drop podcast. He's all about the live tour as far as golfers this weekend. I understand why. Specifically, when we're talking about John Rahm, understood. But maybe we're looking past somebody. So I want to know if we're building our parlay card or picking 5, whatever it may be in the world of gambling on the game of golf. Where do we start? And Chris will join us live from Augusta coming up here in a little bit. Some odds and ends, though, before we do that. Major League Baseball, first and foremost, Phillies back in action this evening. Timeout. Thank you. It's always good when the buttons don't work, but that was my fault. That was an error. My job. Anyways, we got the Phils and we got the Braves. This is a matchup that has all of baseball talking. Everybody's focused on. Wait, what? They're not? Wait, what? The Braves are 1-8. Oh, 1 win in 9 games. The Atlanta Braves. Now, we talked about this last week. No team has ever started 0-7 and made the playoffs in Major League Baseball history. Will Atlanta be the first team to do so? The odds are stacked up against them just because of how difficult the whole National League is. The division as well, they are now third as far as odds-on favorite are concerned. Phillies are front runners. The Mets are second. Then the Atlanta Braves. Is that a little bit too much? I don't think so. Because you have to be honest about where they're at. This is a team that had the Marlins for an opportunity to take 3 of 3 at home, gets rained out on Sunday. They got blanked on Saturday. I just don't think this Atlanta Braves team is all that good at this point in time. And it's okay to say that. They got to wait for their horses to come back with Acuna and Strider. And when they get those guys back, watch out. But at this point in time, not a lot working for them. But we do know Chris Sale's a pretty good pitcher. And, of course, he won the Cy Young last year. He is getting the start this evening. He's off and running. Pretty good start to the season. I'd be surprised if he's able to do what he did last year with an 18-3, 2.38 ERA when he did win the Cy Young Award. However, Zach Wheeler was the runner-up for that award. And I'm not surprised because Wheeler is off and running 13 innings through his first 2 outings. He's got 18 strikeouts and only 2 walks. More of Wheeler doing Wheeler things. Albeit the teams that he went up against so far, not the best. But at the end of the day, I like Wheeler here this evening. I like the Phillies to stay hot. I do. And currently on DraftKings Sportsbook, minus 105 for Zach Wheeler on the mound. 7:15 first pitch. 7 is our total. Sale minus 115 for the Atlanta Braves. And again, jam-packed day in the world of baseball on DraftKings Sportsbook. It starts and ends with that game for me. That's for dang sure. Looking forward to watching that one. Speaking of staying hot, there's nobody hotter. Maybe you could make the case for Schwarber, right? But Sosa, Edmundo Sosa, is in the starting lineup for Rob Thompson and the Phillies. And it is great to see Thompson say the things that he's saying or hear what he's saying, but I did watch the video, so that works as well. We say, hey, man, he's just too hot. You got to find a way to get him in there. And he's starting in left field today. So Turner's getting the start at the top of the order. Harper, Bohm, Schwarber, Castellanos, Realmuto, Sosa, Stott, Rojas, Wheeler. That's your lineup for tonight. Sosa in left field, Rojas in center field. And we'll see what happens. But I do like the Phillies tonight as far as that number is concerned. I don't think anybody would argue with us here in Philadelphia. Sale's a damn good pitcher. I just have more confidence in this lineup for the Phillies coming through than I do for the Atlanta Braves. Braves are struggling right now, and I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out against this team. What we saw this past weekend going up against the Dodgers, they're the real deal. The Phillies are the real deal. And I know that it is a long, long season. That's why you can't get too crazy about the start for the Atlanta Braves because we've seen some bad starts. Remember, the Phils had to fire Joe Girardi, and they made it to the World Series that year. So anything is possible in the grand scheme of things. But with the expectations and what everybody was saying as far as the Atlanta Braves are concerned, I just don't have a good vibe about that team this year. We shall see, though. Sticking with the world of baseball, a little fun stuff, too, as well. This guy, it seems like he I don't know if things follow him or whatnot, but he always seems like he's kind of enjoying himself. And it's Cody Bellinger. And now he plays for the Yankees. We know what he looked like, when the phone call happened and he was like, what? But Bellinger is a fun baseball player. I like Cody Bellinger. And maybe he's a little overpaid, understood. But at the end of the day, I do think he's a pretty damn good baseball player. Anyways, he was forced to sit out against the Detroit Tigers because he suffered from food poisoning. But here's the deal. They're talking about he got food poisoning because of chicken wings. Chicken wings. Bad wings got Cody Bellinger sick, and he wasn't able to play because of bad wings, bad chicken wings in Detroit. Now, there's a lot of food out there, a lot of items that could potentially get you sick. You never want to believe that hot wings are one of those deals that's eventually going to catch up with you. I mean, it's not hard to fry a chicken wing. You got to make sure it's done. You toss them in some sauce, and they're good to go. Bellinger, though, bad wings, out of the lineup for the Yankees. That's a tough pill to swallow, man. You can't have bad wings, and it's really hard to screw up wings, man. Come on. Yankees though played earlier today, ended up losing to the Tigers. Now that's 2 straight. I want to say that the Yankees have now lost. We know that they're up against it with the injuries that they're already facing, and they were already going to be shorthanded going into this season, losing Juan Soto. The expectations with Aaron Judge, who's delivering, and then some. But the Yankees ended up losing again, blanked. They scored 2 yesterday. That's right. 3 straight they have lost. They lost the last game against the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh, 5-4 on Sunday. 6-2 yesterday, losers against the Tigers. And then today, blanked, going up against Scuba. So that's understood there. Plus 155 dogs in that one. Let's take a look at Scuba's numbers here. He's had 3 outings so far. 5 innings, 5 2/3, 6 innings pitched against the Yankees. A 1 win, 2 losses, 6-6-4 as far as hits are concerned. Strikeouts, where he had strikeouts, 2, 8, 6, and earned runs 0 today, 4 and 3. So not the best start for a potential Cy Young Award winner. I was looking at some way early, as far as MVP odds are concerned, and players that have been doing well to start the season. You can't get too crazy as far as that is concerned. But Cy Young, Scooble, plus 425 with 3 starts already. He's behind Crochet at plus 310, Logan Gilbert plus 650, Reagan's 9-1, Jacob deGrom 13-1, and Hunter Brown 18-1. That's on the American League side. Paul Skeens currently plus 150, Zach Wheeler 5-1, and Hunter Green 8-1 on the National League side for the Cy Young. Big card going down tonight in the world of Major League Baseball. And again, DraftKings Sportsbook, where we're getting our numbers from here. We do have some day action. The Mets and Marlins just getting started right now. Cardinals and Pirates. You're looking at the Pirates with Skeens on the mound at minus 135, taking on Sonny Gray. That's a 6:40 first pitch. Taking a peek at Paul Skeens' numbers here. 7.5 plus 125. I don't think he's gone above that number just yet. He was I think he hit 7 in the first game to start the season. Let's see here. Skeens so far, he's got 2 starts. Innings pitched 7 for the last one on April 2nd, 5 1/3 on the opener. 6 strikeouts this previous outing against Tampa Bay, 7 to open up shop against the Miami Marlins to open up the season. And then tonight, you're looking at 7.5 at plus 125. Good number there for Paul Skeens. Wouldn't mind taking a flyer on that. You know he's going to have one of these dominant performances, dominant starts. Is it tonight? In the cold weather. It's cold weather all across this country, it feels like, except for down in Augusta right now. That's for damn sure. Dodgers, who ended up losing last night, now have lost 3 out of their last 4. They're still in D.C. on the road. Just saw the president yesterday. They're minus 185 favorites. You can get the Nats at plus 154. Blue Jays and Red Sox. Crochet on the mound, your front runner for AL Cy Young this evening. 6:45 first pitch. Red Sox are minus 205 favorites, taking on Easton Lucas and the Jays at plus 170. Angels and Rays, minus 175. I've yet to check out the Rays down there in Steinbrenner Stadium. I did see the Sacramento A's and the Padres play 2 nights ago, or last night, whatever it was. So weird. Tampa Bay, a little bit different story as far as the hurricane coming through and wreaking havoc through their stadium, so that's understood. Anyways, they're minus 175 favorites tonight. Cubs and Rangers going head-to-head. Patrick Corbin still getting PT. Come on, man. Jameson Talon on the mound for the Cubs, minus 166. If you bet Patrick Corbin, God bless you. There's no doubt in my mind that I would not take him in this one. Plus 140, though, if you want to take a flyer on that. Minus 165 for go, Cubs go. Royals and Twins, minus 122. Reagan's on the mound. We just talked about him. Taking on Pablo Lopez, minus 122 favorites there. Twins plus 102. 840, Rockies and Brewers. Freeland versus Peralta, minus 162. Brewers favored in that one. 940, Diamondbacks and Orioles. That's a good game there. Minus 108 for the Diamondbacks at home. Merrill Kelly on the mound taking on Charlie Morton. Astros and Mariners. That game's going off at 940 as well. Mariners minus 135 favorites. Valdez on the mound for the Astros plus 114. 2 more to go. Reds and Giants. Giants minus 130. Of course, off to a blazing start this season. 8-1, I want to say. Lodolo on the mound for the Reds, minus 130 for the Giants. And finally, Padres and A's, Dylan Cease on the mound at minus 135. Again, not much jumping off of me on the board as far as Major League Baseball is concerned. Wagering, I do like the Phillies. Why not? With Zach Wheeler, we're going to be invested. We're going to be watching, so why not enjoy that one? But bottom line is, it's just too tough, too early for me to be swinging. But there are a lot of people out there that are dialed in, picking winners. And of course, Luke Arcani and Tansy have been going back and forth in the group chat, picking those home run hitters. Dinger Tuesday, is that what they call it? Well, good luck on those plays. Good luck on those plays. All right, we're going to get back over to the Masters coverage coming up at 4:30 where Chris Powers joins me from Augusta, live from Augusta. I wanted to hit this, though, as far as the MVP is concerned. We got 11 players, courtesy of the folks over at MLB.com, that are putting up early MVP numbers. And I'm doing it because of the one gentleman where I thought he's going to get a pretty big contract. He's going to stay in Chicago, and he is a damn good baseball player. Kyle Tucker. Now, he did get MVP votes last year. But we know how good he is and what he's doing with the Cubs, and if the Cubs are able to win, watch out. Well, he's a huge reason why they're off to that 8-3 start. This is a team that's actually going to be competing for the division, and he's a huge reason why. Slashing 364, 491, 795. He's got 5 home runs, 3 steals, and 15 RBIs. Damn good baseball player. He's number 1 on this list right now. Is it too early for you to start firing on an MVP? For my money, yes. You got a long way to go. A lot of shifting of the odds. And, of course, the market is pulled down because we do have day action going off right now. However, it's one guy to keep an eye on. The other guy that caught my attention too as well, who had a terrible season last year, the year before he was awesome. The Diamondbacks as a whole were great. Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll's playing really, really well so far this year. He's got 3 home runs. He's slugging .628, and he looks like the dude that had an explosive season 2 years ago when he won the Rookie of the Year. But last year, not so much. This year, though, off and running, definitely a guy that you need to keep your eyes on as far as the MVP market is concerned. I think it might be a little bit of a reach, but still, that is a tough division, and the Diamondbacks could very well play the spoiler role here. You know, could it be the Padres on the outside looking in? I'm not going to sit here and say the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers. It's tough to sit here and say it with only where we're at right now on April 8th. But the Dodgers defensively aren't the best. The Dodgers are going to deal with injuries. Blake Snell is hurt right now, for crying out loud. Like, they're going to deal with some hiccups from time to time. Do we believe that it's just going to be smooth sailing for this team? Or is there an opportunity for us to fire on somebody else in this division as far as the West is concerned? They're minus 525 to win the division, putting them to the side. Should we be looking at the Padres? Should we be looking at the Diamondbacks? Should we be looking at the Giants, who are red hot at 19-1? It's a good question. Get involved with that at Fox PHL Gambler as far as the division is concerned. Major League Baseball front and center for us. Of course, NBA season coming down the home stretch, 1 week to go. And the Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, which should be a good game, but it's not looking like Luka will be participating. So therefore, it's a 15.5-point spread. We'll talk more NBA with Sean Bernard coming up in a little bit. That's in the 5 o'clock hour. As I said, Chris Powers, though, going to be joining me. Coming up on the other side, we will talk all things Masters, PGA Tour, and what's it like to be down there in Augusta. My mother used to live in Augusta, and I never made it down to visit in Augusta. She was only there for a couple of years. But I do know this much. The outside, and this doesn't come as surprises. Not exactly in comparison to what is on the inside of those grounds down there in Augusta. I was told that you'd be shocked if you were to drive by and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, it's down this road. Yes. But that's all right, though. Chris will join us. We'll talk about what it's like. What's the first thing that stood out to him? And it's crazy because when you do talk to people that have been there before, majority of the time it exceeds expectations, right? Does every time I watch it on television. Why would it not when you're live and in person there? A friend of mine had tickets to practice yesterday and got rained out. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a very, very tough pill to swallow. Anyways, we'll keep it going here. Daily Ticket rolls on. We'll talk all things Masters coming up here at 4:30. Chris Powers from Golf Digest, live from Augusta. Don't go anywhere. More Daily Ticket after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Tuesday drive home, and we're busy on the Schuylkill with volume westbound. Stop and go University Girard Boulevard to Belmont, and then Gulf Mills to 202 with a crash on the shoulder. Eastbound Schuylkill, so 202 to Gulf Mills, Boulevard to Belmont, and Montgomery Drive to South. The Boulevard northbound stacked up Schuylkill to Broad. Vine Expressway westbound heavy 95 to the Schuylkill merge. 95 northbound jam Girard up the bridge. Southbound so Woodhaven to Academy, Cotman to Bridge, and 420 to 320. Wire to total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Roots Picnic is back May 31st and June 1st at the Man in Fairmount Park in Philadelphia. Hold on, wait a minute. D'Angelo, Lenny Kravitz, Meek Mill, The Roots, Glorilla, Miguel, Thames, Kaytranada, Lotto, Music Soul Child, Jay-Z, 2 Chainz, and many more. For tickets and info, head to rootspicnic.com. Presented in partnership with Live Nation Urban.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Sharia McRae, CEO of Foundation Academies.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
This Wednesday, the New York Rangers face off against the Philadelphia Flyers in a must-watch showdown. Catch all the action as Artemi Panarin and the Rangers take on Travis Konechny and the Flyers in a clash packed with playoff implications. It's all happening on Wednesday, April 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT and streaming on Max. That's Rangers versus Flyers. Wednesday, April 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT and streaming on Max. Don't miss a minute of the action on the ice.
Are your money skills total trash? Well, you are not alone. Personal finance ignorance is as American as apple pie. But don't fret. The How to Money podcast is here to help you improve. Think, Matt, if your emergency fund was invested, especially given the volatility we're experiencing right now. Ouchies. Investing, it is ultimately a necessity, but you got to keep that emergency fund accessible. It needs to be cash parked in your savings. It's time to increase your money knowledge. And the How to Money podcast is here to bring the wisdom. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search How to Money, and start listening today.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mist tints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Looking to elevate your golf game? Welcome to Penn Club on 2nd in the heart of Conshohocken. With over 350 courses to choose from, 3 state-of-the-art simulator bays powered by TrackMan technology, and a members-only clubhouse open 7 days a week. We're all about the ultimate golfing experience. Enjoy the perks of a family-owned club with affordable membership options for individuals, teams, and even corporate groups. Conveniently located near major highways, you can bring your own beverages and enjoy top-notch food at restaurants nearby. Visit pc2conchi.com to find your membership today.
CEOs You Should Know, brought to you by Comcast Business.
Sharia McRae, the proud CEO of Foundation Academies in Trenton, New Jersey. Foundation Academy is a K-12 charter school in the city of Trenton. Our mission is to empower our scholars to excel in learning and lead purpose-filled lives through pushing for excellent quality instruction every single day. And so what that looks like at Foundation Academy is ensuring our scholars have everything from food and shelter to enrichment activities and tutoring and sports, college tours and field trips, equipping them and opening the door for opportunity and access for every single scholar to pursue their passions, whatever that might be. During this time that we're living in, there's a lot of fears and a lot of uncertainties. But the one thing everyone can be certain about is the opportunity to impact the life of a child. At Foundation Academy, we're always calling on folks who want to be a part of that, who want to have the impact, have the heart for children, because they're not just our future, they're our today. Join us in this movement to really change lives through education. You can visit us on our website at www.foundationacademies.org.
Comcast Business, the complete connectivity solution. Cybersecurity, internet, and mobile, all from one provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Man, I hate this course, Moose. I always lose so many golf balls.
You're still buying those overpriced balls, Harry?
What other choice do I have? Premium balls aren't cheap.
They are if you get them from buymyballs.com. I told you, that's balls with a Z. Same top brands, way less cash.
Wait, so you're playing premium golf balls and don't care if you lose them?
Nope. I just reload and keep swinging it and dinging it.
All right. First thing after this round, I'm hitting buymyballs.com. Stop overpaying for premium golf balls. Get yours at buymyballs.com. That's balls with a Z.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
A landscaping pro's workday is measured in power per hour. More work in less time. That's why the pros prefer Echo outdoor power equipment. Echo's best-in-class chainsaws, blowers, and string trimmers make light work out of the toughest work days. It's time your crew upgraded to Echo Power. Experience Echo Power for yourself at Laurel Lawn Mower in Blackwood, New Jersey. Visit laurellawn.com or call 856-228-2770 to learn more. Echo. Power on and on.
Attorney Joe Cordell. Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Offices in Philadelphia, Radnor, and Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. Michelle Ferrari, licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Progressive knows RV owners like to travel at a nice, relaxing pace. Just like this commercial. They're not rushing to a departure gate at the airport because they depart from their driveway. And they can relax even more knowing they're protected by Progressive. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Sunshine and a few clouds will pop this afternoon, but those winds, they continue to whip out of the west-northwest, almost that winter feel in the air. High temperatures in the mid-40s, but not feeling any better than the mid to the upper 30s. A crystal clear night, the winds relax some, but we have a freezing cold night. 20s in most of the suburbs, 30 degrees for Center City. I'm meteorologist Adam Joseph with your 6ABC forecast.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Sharia McRae, CEO of Foundation Academies.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your nature-made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Here's what's trending now on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
You are not going to want to miss this. Lizzo is opening up like never before on Purpose with Jay Shetty, and it's an episode everyone is talking about. Plus, Troy and Belisario shares what life has been like after Pretty Little Liars on Post Run High, and it might surprise you. And Amanda Knox joins Bobby Cass to talk about surviving prison and life nearly 20 years after being wrongfully accused.
Explore the latest. Open the free iHeartRadio app and see what's trending now.
Yes. The beautiful sounds of the Masters. It all gets started on Thursday officially, of course. We know that. But we got all sorts of practice rounds taking place right now. Of course, press conferences happening down there as well. And the par 3 competition, par 3 contest coming up. A lot to take in over these next couple of days via the television. Unless you're like our next guest, who happens to be live in Augusta, doing big things as usual, tearing it up, great, getting some great sound bites. He represents the squad over at Golf Digest. Chris Powers making his return to the Daily Ticket. Chris, thanks for a couple minutes, man. I know you're up against it, but great job down there already. How is it down there in Augusta? Paint the picture for us, Chris. I've never been there. I'm dying to go. What's it like, man? What stood out to you the most down there?
Well, first of all, appreciate you having me on and for the kind introduction, as always. The picture's beautiful today. Unfortunately, only got out to the course for a little bit. As you mentioned, quite a few press conferences today. I had a couple questions for certain guys, so I was kind of going through the press conference car wash. Only made it out to the course for like an hour. The weather is incredible. It looks like it's going to be incredible the rest of the week, and it's just beautiful. It's just everybody's happy to be here. Even the players in the pressers, you can tell everyone's just kind of like floating on air. So incredible start to the week so far, and I'm excited. Thursday can't get here soon enough.
I bet. Yeah, Chris Powers, of course, does a great job for Golf Digest. Was able to have a little bit of a Q&A with Rory. And Rory, I don't think he took offense to your question by no means, but he was very adamant with his answer. If you want to take us through, you were able to ask him a question about Colin Morikawa and his response after losing a tournament a few weeks back and not talking to the media afterwards. Some people had some issues with that, and all you were doing was just asking Rory his thoughts. What was your take on Rory's answer to your question?
To be honest with you, something I knew but kind of forgotten about until Rory answered it is that these guys are not obligated to speak to us after any round. In fact, I was just down at the Players where this whole Colin thing happened, and a lot of times you kind of have to ask someone from the PGA Tour, hey, can I talk to this guy? Or a bunch of reporters say, hey, can we get him in the flash area after? And look, when a lot of guys shoot 65, they're willing to talk, and they'll talk to a bunch of reporters, but they are not obligated. So my point of that question was like, these other athletes from other sports, reporters are in the locker room, they're getting grilled constantly. But Rory did make a good point. They are obligated to do that. They have no choice. Golfers do have the choice. That said, my other point of asking that question was you kind of should always talk. And what Rory did at Pinehurst last year, what Colin did at Bay Hill, ducking the media after a close call, finishing second, when a lot of people, that's when you want to hear from an athlete, at their lowest moment, what they're thinking, how they're feeling. I understand they don't want to talk about it, and they'd rather be anywhere else than talking to a bunch of media members, but it's part of the job. Tiger Woods did it. Greg Norman gets a lot of criticism for what he's done in golf in recent years. He spoke after choking away the Masters back in the 90s. All these guys from the past have spoken. Phil Mickelson spoke after choking it away at Winged Foot. So I don't know what makes this current generation of golfers think that they're sort of above that.
Oh, I love it. C Powers 14 on socials, mandatory follow, represent the squad at Golf Digest. Speaking of Rory, number one storyline, does it start and end with Rory finally getting his green jacket? Is that the number one storyline this week for you?
I think so. It has been for just about everybody. I was on a conference call last week. We got to chat with Brandel Chambly and Paul McGinley, the Live From guys, and there must have been 10, 15 total questions. I think 14 of them revolved around their opinions on Rory McIlroy. So I understand it, obviously, until he wins this one, career Grand Slam, until he wins another major, he's going to be the top story at every major. I understand Scotty's on a Tiger-like run. Obviously, Xander Schauffele's going for 3 in a row. That would be, or not 3 in a row, 3 of the last 4, excuse me. So there's a lot of great storylines. You got the Liv guys back. You got Ron, you got Bryson. They spoke today. A lot of interesting stuff happening with those two, but it is 100% Rory's the number one storyline this week.
Chris, as far as Sunday drama is concerned, if we could pick a pair that would be in that final pairing, would you want Scotty versus Rory? Is that the best bang for our buck, or do you think there would be something else, maybe a Brooks versus Bryson? I don't know if we could still dig that one up. Phil, an old school guy. Where would you be if I gave you the open opportunity to pick the final pairing competing for the green jacket on Sunday? A little Sunday drama. Who are you going with?
It's funny. I was thinking about this listening to John Rahm in his press conference today, and he was asked about sort of the run Scotty Scheffler's been on, and he was very complimentary of them. And then I was thinking, John Rahm was kind of on a similar run when he won here in 2023. And the conversation after that was, man, how great would it be if Rahm and Scheffler are going at each other over the next year or so, kind of trying to out alpha each other. Then Rahm goes to Live, and we never get to see these guys play together anymore. And even in the majors last year, Rahm was, he admitted it, he had a bad year in the majors last year. So we haven't really gotten that Rahm-Scheffler duel we were kind of expecting to become a regular thing. So while you're right, Scheffler-Rory would probably be what the casual fan would gravitate toward. Brooks would be incredible. Bryson would be incredible in the mix. For me, I think I'd love to see a Rahm-Scheffler duel someday on the back nine.
No doubt about that. Speaking about John Rahm, of course, won 2 years ago, missed the cut last year. So he's coming in with a little bit of bad taste in his mouth. But for this question, I'm going to take John Rahm off the board. We're going to stay with Liv. Is there a golfer that you have in your mind that could potentially make a run, whether it's top 5, top 10, top 20, or get the ultimate prize, the green jacket? If I took John Rahm away from you to use as an answer, who's another live golfer that we need to be looking at as far as making a run here this weekend?
Well, our Golf Digest picks just went live about 20 minutes ago, so you can go check those out, and you'll see that I did pick Bryson DeChambeau to win this week. And that's just, I've had a gut feeling about this since he sort of figured out the golf course last year. The narrative around him here was he's never going to figure it out. He can't deal with the side hill lines, and you're not allowed to use the green reading books here, so he can't really create a math equation in his brain about how to attack this golf course. Then he's got the 36-hole lead last year. Looks like he's going to win the thing. Obviously, faded a little bit on the weekend, tied for 6th, but then goes and finishes 2nd at the PGA, 1st at the U.S. Open. 2 huge confidence-building weeks. Showed some life last week. Obviously, was leading at Doral. Didn't do great on Sunday. I think I saw enough last week to be back in on him at 20-1. I think that's great value for him. He's a force in these majors now. So I'm on Bryson. One other guy I'll give you, the guy who almost won last week. Obviously, Leishman won. He's not here. But Sergio Garcia, to me, another guy who's been a force at the majors basically for the better part of 2 decades now. He's played great on Live. Ever since going to Live, he's been one of the guys who, a lot of these older guys went to Live. It almost seemed like a retirement plan for them. Sergio has sort of still competed at a very high level on that tour. He's obviously had success here, ton of success in the majors over the years. If we're talking, like you said, top 20, top 10, I love Sergio this week as a placement bet.
Excellent stuff. All right. Staying with some top dogs. And again, I know that when we talk about Rory, we want to see him do it. Should we be looking at possibly fading Rory because there is so much at stake, like the pressure, all that? If there is value at fading Rory, would that be a proper approach in your mind?
You're asking the right guy this question, because I'm kind of an anti-Rory guy at this event. I think 2011 broke him mentally, and I think the phone incident at the Players' Championship, where apparently this kid referenced the shot he hit in 2011 at the Masters, and Rory was so mad about it that he took the kid's phone. To me, that just shows you this place still lives rent-free in his head. Obviously, he wants it very badly, perhaps too badly. That's why he gets off to bad starts here every year. On Thursday, he often shoots in the 70s when you need to shoot a 68, 69, get off to a good start here. You want to be in the top 10, on Friday heading into the weekend. He's not been able to do that this year. You just said it before. He's the number one storyline. The pressure couldn't be any higher. So for me, I kind of agree with you a little bit, but we're kind of on an island, I think, with that opinion.
Yeah, exactly that. All right, Chris, so take us on the inside once again, live from Augusta. What's the one thing that stood out to you? How many times have you been there? Is this your first time?
This is my third. I came for Rahm. Rahm was my first one last year, Scheffler. So this is number 3 for me.
What stands out to you the most when you get back there? Is it because you hear these guys that have been there before and they tell you like, yeah, it lives up and then some. It meets the expectations and then some. Is that true?
Oh, 100%. I actually have my dad and my brother happen to be coming on Thursday. They were able to score some tickets. I can't wait to experience it with them. That's going to be pretty epic for the 3 of us. But to answer your question, I know this is kind of a simple answer, but the no phones thing is real. You get out to the course, and me, I'm on my phone constantly.
Yeah.
You mentioned follow me on Twitter. I literally live on Twitter. To not be able to check or on Thursday when the guys I bet on are playing, to not be able to check how they're doing on the leaderboard, it's tough. But you know what? You're very engaged with what's happening out there. You look in people's eyes. It's crazy. Back home, I never look anybody in the eye, and you're looking at faces here. It's wild. So it's kind of the easy answer, but it's the no phones thing for me. And you hear a lot of players say the same thing. I know Ludwig Oberg talked about it today in his presser, just how engaged everybody is out there. The fans in particular.
Well, Chris, continued success this week on all your plays. Good luck with the coverage, my man, and shaking it up in those press rooms. I love it. Great stuff on the timeline. We'll continue to follow you at CPowers14. Once again, representing the squad over there at Golf Digest. Chris Powers live from Augusta. Chris, can't thank you enough for squeezing us in your busy schedule, man. As I said, good luck with all the coverage this weekend. We'll catch up down the road, but man, enjoy it down there.
I will. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. There he is once again. Chris Powers joining us live from Augusta. You hear it, man. Again, from the storyline when it comes to Rory, you have to ask yourself whether or not it's worth taking a shot, right? Squeezing the juice from that lemon, as they say. Is there any juice left to squeeze when it comes to him finally getting over the hump and winning the last major here, getting that green jacket? I mean, he's a young dude. He could eventually do it. I have never bet against Rory, but it just feels like the pressure that exists in Augusta is real. Like we saw it with Jordan Spieth. And you know, look, when you the Open across the pond, I'm sure that there's pressure there. And a U.S. Open, hell, even a TPC, I'm sure that there's crazy pressure, right? But I just feel like at Augusta, when you're just in that world where all eyes are on you, we're going to ramp it up a little bit. And it's not to say that Rory's going to fall apart, but when it comes to wagering on a potential winner, is it worth the while on Rory at plus 650 to win the green jacket? Is it worth taking a shot at plus 130 top 5, minus 165 for top 10? I don't see it. Now, there are plenty of ways to get involved as far as fading him is concerned, and I don't think that Rory is going to miss the cut, but if you wanted to take a shot at Rory McIlroy missing the cut, 6-1. Now, I think that the wheels would completely have to fall off for him to miss the cut, and I don't expect that, so I'm not going to suggest that that's a good wager. But there are people out there that want to fade Rory McIlroy. I'm not here to argue. Again, it's tough enough to pick the winner, to cash in on a bet when it comes to the world of golf, especially at the Masters. But you look down that list, there are so many guys that you can make the case for. I'd like to see JT. You know, I'm a Justin Thomas guy, man. Always have been. It seems like he's, got the cool head and just a good dude behind the scenes. Damn good player as well. I would like to see JT get the job done 25-1 at plus 180 top 10. I think that that's a worthwhile shot as well. He's been playing some good golf, and it's crazy when you start throwing these live golfers into the mix. That's where things change up as well. We have to realize, and I'm sure a lot of us do, but there are plenty of us that come into the world of wagering on the Masters out of nowhere, not ready. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Live golfers. Oh, yeah, they're good, John. No, these guys are top world class. Like, we know how good John Rahm is. He could win it. Brooks Koepka, absolutely. Bryson DeChambeau. You don't have to think long and hard about those guys. And now we're throwing them into the mix. It's great. Cam Smith. He's a guy that nobody's discussing. I was happy to hear Chris bring up Sergio Garcia. I thought that was interesting. Minwoo Lee's playing great. Just won 2 weeks ago. Is it asking for too much for him to go in there and compete this time around? We'll see. Patrick Reed. See, I haven't paid attention to anything live, so I can't tell you what he's like as far as live golf courses or how he's playing on the live tour. Apparently, this write-up I have, Reed has had a so-so year on live golf. He hasn't missed the cut at the Masters since winning in 2018. He tied for 7th at Doral last week. So perhaps he could be finding his groove heading into Augusta. He knows how to play the course. Man, anybody but him. Anybody but Patrick Reed. I think we're all in agreement on that one. Great to have Chris Powers joining us. Can't thank him enough. And, of course, fun show today, talking all things in the world of golf. Bottom line is you look at what is going on, and this week more than ever, all eyes will be on all things from the standpoint of the Masters. We're going to be all over it right here on The Gambler. Looking forward to talking more. Of course, Swinging and Ding It. They'll be having an episode for us here coming up on the Masters. I'm going to have Luke Arcani on the show tomorrow. Luke and I are going to talk a little bit more about Augusta and also have some other invites out there for some people that are in the world of golf. I want to get them on the show. Quickly, though, before we get out of here, just to give you my take from a little earlier today. Once again, last night, I still have the question, how the hell did Houston end up losing that game?
Uzan on the right-hand wing, stops with 7 seconds, gives it to Cryer, 6 seconds to go, 5 seconds to Sharp, top of the key, lost the dribble, he's got to pick it up, it's scooped up by Condon, Condon secures it, and Florida found a way from 12 down to the school's third national championship in men's basketball. 65-63, the final. The Florida Gators are the national champions once again.
Yeah, man. Gators got the job done. And, it's sad that college basketball has come to a close. It was a great tournament. Enjoyed every minute of it, as I do every single year. Of course, the Final Four delivered. Last night's game was shocking, 12-point lead blown. Have no idea how Houston ended up losing that game. I want to give all the credit in the world to Florida, but in that Duke game, I just felt like, Houston, you can give them the credit that they deserve. They played the defense that they needed to play down the stretch, made all the right coaching decisions. Even in that game, it felt a little bit different than what took place last night. I know Florida comes through in the clutch. They have this whole tournament run, 4 out of their 6 wins. They were down by 5+ points in the second half, and they've won all of them. Of course, you got to win 6 straight to cut down the nets in April/March. But last night, I just, if you're a Houston backer, if you are Kelvin Sampson, I don't know if you want to go back and watch that video anytime soon. That was an impressive collapse. And it's not even like Florida was doing enough. Like they did, don't get me wrong. They hit a couple shots here and there, but it was poor decision-making. It was living by the three, bad coaching with Sampson. And for him, like the timeout, sure, you want to call the timeout 20 seconds. I get it. That's fine. But the whole down by 2, and you have your guy out there way out behind the 3-point line, still dribbling 14, 12, 10 seconds, still dribbling. Like what did you draw up? My theory on that with 20 seconds is attack the rim. You got to go. You have to go. Now, do you want the best shot possible? Of course. They were trying to win the game. 20 seconds on the clock. They were trying to set up a 3-pointer to win the game. I didn't agree with that. Now, the flip is, you're going to leave time on the clock for the other side. Understood. But I just thought that was poor clock management and poor end of game as far as X's and O's are concerned from Kelvin Sampson and Houston. They didn't even get a shot off, right? Like, we all have to agree on that one. Anyways, college basketball season was a lot of fun. Shout out to everybody, the Gambler Gang, all those big brains. Can't thank them enough for everything that they did this year. And now, sadness as no college football, no college basketball for quite some time. So now we got nothing but NBA, Masters, and Major League Baseball. It's all right. We got plenty to discuss. We're going to have a lot of fun. We got some new shows coming out here on The Gambler, and looking forward to rolling those out in the next couple days / weeks. Make sure you're following us on socials. And once again, can't thank everybody for coming on today's show. As far as the Drop podcast, can't thank Mike Puorro for coming on today's show. The Drop podcast, make sure you subscribe, especially if you are in the state of New Jersey. Chris Powers, C Powers 14 from Golf Digest, thank you very much for coming on today's show. Tomorrow, back at it. We're going to get Julian Edlow back in the mix here and talk a little NBA, and we will do that on the other side as well. Sean Bernard's going to join me in the 5 o'clock hour, live picks and roll. We're going to talk about everything as far as the association is concerned, break down a couple games tonight, big spreads, but the focus right here, right now is on 2 things. 1, the Denver Nuggets, what the hell did they do? And 2, playoff matchups. Where are you looking for potential upsets? We're going to talk a little bit about that and some big picture surprises as this season is almost done in the NBA. Man, that was fast. Yeah, right. I'll be back tomorrow live at 3 p.m. Don't go anywhere. Sean Bernard joins me on the other side. More after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for